Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Put your questions in the comments now. So I'm just setting up, so forgive me if I'm not looking straight for a minute. I'm just looking to the side. I'm just setting up here, so bear with me. Start putting those questions in the comments. All right, so we got a 10-year green card approval without the interview. That's the latest thing that's been happening, and we have many more to come, speaking it into existence, and it's very likely because we've been sending off medicals like crazy. And that usually means once they ask for the medical, after VAWA approval, they ask for the medical for the green card. It means that our clients are going to probably get that green card in the mail. And that's what happened this past week with one of our clients. We got the green card in the mail. So our client is finally a 10-year green card holder, and that comes with a lot of benefits. So for one, that means that because this client was the spouse of a U.S. citizen, it means that our client will be able to apply for their citizenship in 3 years and not have to wait the 5 years. So that's another benefit. In 3 years, our immigration journey will be officially over, and she'll be looking at another chapter in her book, which is to move forward with life in other ways, grow, thrive, do anything she wants to do. That's the reason why this is so important. Why it is worth the investment is it means that you're able to move forward with life. It's not just about a card. It's not just about a work permit. It's not just about a social security number, but what comes with it. The, the tools it gives you, the power it gives you to elevate your life, to upgrade your life, to move forward in your life. So I wanted to talk to you about how did we succeed and how are we succeeding in our clients' VAWA cases? Because, we have heard of VAWA denials as well. And, where I see a lot of those denials coming in is where either the attorney missed something very important from the case, but in a majority of the cases where I hear that there is a denial or there's a very scary request for evidence, which is probably going to lead to a denial, is where the client applied on their own. They went ahead and applied on their own. That is where I see a lot of mistakes happening. Me and my team are very meticulous as we go through this process of applying for VAWA. Because, yes, even though any credible evidence is important, keep in mind that that doesn't mean any shabby evidence. That doesn't mean evidence that's not detailed. That doesn't mean writing a paragraph saying that you were subjected to abuse and it's going to be accepted. So you still have to be very careful with this process to ensure that you're creating a solid application. Now, mistreatment or abuse is one of the things that you have to consider. But you also have to keep in mind that there are other requirements. And some people end up paying more attention to the mistreatment and less attention on the other aspects of the process, the requirements, which will be in some cases, the residency requirement with your spouse or your relative. There is a requirement that at some point in your relationship, you lived with your spouse or relative. And then there's good moral character. Not many of my clients have a problem with showing good moral character, but it's not just about writing on a document on your statement you're a good person. You have to show through a detailed background check, through an FBI background check. That's what we do for every client. The FBI background check fulfills the good moral character aspect of it. And then it's to prove the relationship. Now, it's easier to prove the relationship when it is a parent, son or daughter relationship that the VAWA application is based on. But when you are looking at a spousal relationship, you have to pay special attention to showing that it was a bona fide marriage. That's going to involve showing the same types of evidence that you would show in a marriage based process. But here's where I would say it's a little different. For example, sometimes a part of the mistreatment is that you were not given access to a joint bank account. You weren't given access to joint property like the joint lease, or even access to the mortgage. You weren't placed on the title of the property to show that you lived with your spouse. And in cases like this, we have to really brainstorm with our clients to determine what the best form of evidence is to be able to show through credible evidence that this is a bona fide marriage, right? So it's not only about showing through credible evidence the mistreatment, but also focusing on the other requirements, because they can also deny you. They may find, okay, credible about the abuse, but we don't know if this abuse, we don't know if you had a bona fide marriage because you didn't really show enough, or we don't know if you live together. We can't tell from what you presented that you live together. Sometimes it takes a little more effort to be able to present. Do you want to come in? You can, yeah, you can come in. Okay, thank you. Uh, thank you. All right. Okay. So it's not, you have to focus on those other aspects of your process. You can't just focus on the mistreatment. And then one of the important things to note is you have to learn, or you have to be able to try to find an effective way to communicate what you went through. And me and my team are very good at this. One, because we can relate to our clients. I, as the attorney, can relate to what they're going through. I've educated myself about this process, as well as the effect it has on my clients. So I'm able to help my clients to properly communicate what they went through to the immigration service. Um, if you know that you cannot and you don't have the know how to present a solid declaration detailing the effects on you, the mistreatment, that is where it's important to make sure that you get professional help. It's not just me, by the way. I have an entire team of people, of staff members that specialize on each aspect, specialize regarding each aspect of this application. We have someone who is focused only on the declarations, along with myself. We have someone who is focused on the making sure the application has everything in place, every detail in place to be able to show the officer the consistency and credibility of the application. We have even staff members who focus on the good moral character aspect of the application, and that's through the background check, any records that we need to pull to be able to show the good moral character of our clients. I have also a team of attorneys that work with me to make sure that we are sifting through every detail of the application. Because if I can tell you one thing, the way you're going to succeed in this VAWA application is to present detail. That is the key here. That is what we've focused on with each of our clients. And because of that, we have been successful. We have to focus on detail. That's going to be the key here, detail, in order for the officer to be able to find the application credible. And once they find it credible, then they conclude that it is true and they can approve the VAWA application. So, and now another thing is just to understand the legal requirements of this, the steps that you have to take to succeed. Because one wrong move can mean that your whole application gets denied, even if it wasn't supposed to be denied. For example, for example, let me see here. Let me know on Instagram if you can hear me. All right, so my battery is about to go. So let me know if you can hear me. If I'm muted, I have to go in, I come out and then go back in. Now, one of the aspects of this application is the steps. So for example, if you, oh, thank you so much, KTP Sensitive, for letting me know. I'm so glad because sometimes the sound goes out. No, sometimes you have to, thank you, Jane. Now you have to know when to apply for what. So, for example, with the VAWA process, if you're the spouse of a US citizen, you're the son or daughter of a US citizen who is under 21. In other words, you're the immediate relative of a US citizen, you're the parent of a US citizen, and that US citizen is age 21 or older. You can apply for everything all in one. You can apply for your green card at the same time, your work permit, your travel document, and your VAWA petition. That means that they will process your VAWA application. While they're processing your VAWA application, they're sending the work permit, they're sending the travel document, and then once your VAWA gets approved, they send your green card. You know, after you meet the requirements, like right now, we're sending medicals like crazy, and we're expecting to get those green cards back. So, uh, that is the process for immediate relatives of US citizens. But what if you are the spouse of a permanent resident or the son or daughter of a permanent resident? Does the same apply to you? Now, it's painful to think about it, but just last year, July, we could have done the same thing for spouses of permanent residents and son and daughter of permanent residents under 21. We could apply for their work permit, their travel document, their green card all at the same time. That's because last year they didn't have a wait list. Well, as of August 1st, they had a wait list. And that wait list meant that the spouses of US citizens and the children of the spouses of permanent residents and the children of permanent residents have to now wait for their immigrant visa number to become available. And this can be confusing for some. This is also why it's very important to make sure that you are guided through this process. Because what that means is so far it could be worse. We are, I think, a couple of months in, and we still haven't seen it change where it's updated. But right now, the date that they're processing is anybody who submitted their applications. I have to check I have to go ahead and check the visa bulletin, but the last time I checked, it may change, so I have to check. But on or before September 1st, 2023, anybody who submitted their applications before that date can still can now apply for their green card, their work permit, and travel document, because it means that their priority date is current. They're at the top of the wait list. So you have to look at your priority date on your VAWA petition to determine whether your priority date is current, in a nutshell. So it doesn't mean that you can't apply. What I would say is you still have to apply. As a matter of fact, I'd say it's urgent for you to apply now, because the longer you wait is the longer that wait list gets. So you want to apply now for your green card, for your VAWA petition, so that your number can come up sooner on the wait list, and then you can move forward with applying for everything else. So there's no waiting. So don't think because there's a wait list, you'll say, I'll just wait until there's no wait list. Guys, I'm not optimistic that there'll never be a wait list. There'll probably always be a wait list. So make sure that if you're the spouse of a resident or the son or daughter under 21 of a resident, you're the stepchild of a resident, please make sure you submit your VAWA petition now so that you hold your place in line so that you can apply for the rest of the documents. That's what my clients are doing, right? Is they're still holding their spot on the wait list so that they can still get the benefits sooner than later. All right. So just keep that in mind that there's very specific legal steps that you have to take. The other one of concern is with the derivatives. At what point can they apply for their work permit and their green card? And it's going to be at the point that the derivative is approved along with you for VAWA, right? At that point, they will be able to then apply for their own adjustment of status. If they're outside of the country, they're going to have to wait for you to get your green card, and then they'll get their green card, they'll get their immigrant visa to come to the US and join you as a green card holder. All right. So I think I've said a lot here about the green card process and how we succeed for our clients. The number one thing that I believe is our strength here as a team at SD Law Office is we care about our clients, of course. I'm passionate about what I do, of course, but along with that comes the detail that we pay attention to. I don't look at my law firm and the work we do as like similar to like a McDonald's drive-through, right? Where you come through, you say, I need to file a VAWA, and then we just fill out some paperwork and send it off. It is very much about the detail involved. So that detail that we're presenting now means that there are less questions on immigration side later on. And this is where I see a lot of people falter, a lot of other attorneys, and not a lot of other attorneys, but other attorneys where I have seen that an attorney has gotten a denial, or where an individual has gotten a denial. It comes where there is not the consideration for the detail that the officer needs to be able to establish that your application is credible. All right, so I'm going to answer some questions. Let me go ahead and I'm going to scroll through and start answering questions. So start dropping those questions. How much do you charge for asylum? So it's going to be dependent on your case. We have to talk to you to determine what's involved. Give us a call. Let's talk. Is it possible the student visa get a green card? How? So no, you can't jump from student visa to green card. It's not a direct path. What happens is you have somebody that comes on an F1 visa, and then maybe they get married. Maybe they have a parent or a relative that sponsors them. Maybe an employer sponsors them to get their green card, but it's going to have to fall under one of those. It's not just a direct path from student visa to green card. What if you're married and your wife moved and you can't find her? I talked about this the other day, and I talked about abandonment. Now, if your wife just moved out, I'm pretty sure there's more to it than that. And that's where having a conversation with me or Attorney Bria is going to be important for us to determine whether this kind of where they moved out, you can't find them, they disappeared on you, if it amounts to emotional abuse or extreme cruelty. In most cases, they're doing that to be cruel towards you, to be able to make you feel stressed out and depressed and make you feel neglected. That is a form of emotional mistreatment. But we have to understand the facts here to be able to confirm it. So it's definitely a red flag for VAWA. Give us a call though. Let's talk in a consultation. My 19-year-old son is here with me. How can I get him a green card and work permit? So if he's here for you, here with you, I'd need to know what's your status. Are you a U.S. citizen? If you're a U.S. citizen, well, voila, he's a spouse of, he's the son of a U.S. citizen, which makes him immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, and you can apply for him. Now, if it's more complex than that and you don't have your papers, we need to find out from you what your circumstances are to determine whether there are other options available. He is here 6 years now. So let's talk, Karen, let's talk about it. I need to know more. Married to a U.S. citizen, what's the next step to adjust your status? So you're married to a U.S. citizen, it's time to file those papers. Now, we need to know you're married to a U.S. citizen. You either qualify for this upcoming parole if you enter the country without permission, or if you're here on a visa or you overstayed your visa, you can just jump straight into adjusting status. So it's going to depend, but usually the next step is to apply for the adjustment of status paper, the green card through adjustment of status through your submitting your adjustment of status application, your work permit, or your travel document. Why do they cancel a citizen application? So in cases where I've seen they cancel the citizenship application, it means sometimes if they find something in your background and they give you an opportunity to withdraw the application so they don't have to make a decision, like make a denial. Sometimes that's what it's about, but I would need to talk more. How can I apply for citizenship? Using the N400 application. We help our clients get that as well. So give us a call and we can, carry you through a very quick process. So the difference between a permanent residence and a citizen determines the length of the green card approval. So either way, with a VAWA approval, you get the 10-year. But when you are married to a U.S. citizen, then you can apply for the green card in 3 years, even if that U.S. citizen mistreated you. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Livingston. I'm a green card holder and my 19-year-old son is here as an illegal immigrant. How can I help him? So, the straightforward information I can give you here, and keep in mind, I'm not your attorney, I'm not giving you personalized legal advice. I'd have to talk to you in a consultation. But the most straightforward way is, would you be able to apply for citizenship soon before your son turns 21? That could be one way. The other way is through an I-601A waiver process. And through that waiver process, it means that your son would be forgiven for the time he's overstayed. He'd be able to go to the embassy and get his immigrant visa to come back as a green card holder. Those are the two options right now. The Biden implemented new laws for spouses and children and stepchildren of U.S. citizens, but we haven't seen this for any relatives of green card holders, so we have yet to see that. But give us a call. Let's see what we can do. What if you're married to someone who had a green card, they got divorced, you still get your green card? What if you are married to someone who had a green card? They got, and I'm not sure what that is, Devan, you still get your green card. I'm not sure what Devan mean. I think that's a key word. Um, I moved out of my spouse's house because of abuse about a year ago. We have been married for 5 years. However, it's going on 3 years of me having my 10-year green card. Should I still apply for citizenship? So, when it comes to applying for citizenship, you still have to show that you are married, you're currently living in marital union with your spouse if you want to get to the 3 years. If you haven't applied for VAWA or you didn't get your green card through VAWA, you got it through marriage, you still have to end up waiting the 5 years or proving that you're still living in marital union with your spouse. What is the number to call? It's 561 405 4889. And I'm putting it in the comments under immigration lawyer, Sharifa. You can scroll through to see it. Can you share your email address? It's info@stlawoffice.com. And you can always DM us, by the way. That's the best way to do this. If you're here on Instagram, send us a DM. We are answering our DMs. So if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, DM us. We'll answer you. If I'm in VAWA process, can I marry somebody else? No, I'm so glad that you brought that up. Do not get remarried. If you're going through your VAWA process, do not get remarried. They will cancel your application, send you a nice fat denial letter, and you'll be back at square one. All right. So let's see here. Hi, my mother petitioned for me in 2009. She's a green card holder. I currently have DACA. So when your immigrant visa number becomes available, you should be able to apply for your I-601 waiver that can get you your green card. You'd have to go to the embassy in the country you're from, though, after your waiver is approved to get your immigrant visa to get your green card. So it's a whole process. What's the next step to helping my husband get into the army? How do he apply for temporary green card? So he'd apply through you. If you're a US citizen, he'd apply for his green card through you in the marriage-based process. Give us a call. That's what we do. How long does it take to get a green card when you're a T holder and you apply early? So it's taking about 1.5 to 2 years. My grandmother's green card expired. Should she apply with I-90 instead of SB1? SB1 is if your grandmother is outside of the US. So if your grandmother is outside of the US and she's applying to return for a re-entry permit, it's going to be SB1. Otherwise, to renew the green card, it's going to be the I-90. How long does it take to get green card after the VAWA application is accepted? I'd say 2.5 to 3 years, but keep in mind, along the way, you get essential immigration benefits. How long it takes to get approved and employee sponsorship after you pass DOL. So after the DOL approval, if you're outside of the country, you're still looking at 1.5 to 2 years. If you're in the country, you're looking at about 1 year to 1.5 years. My dad is 70 years old. He has been here for 30 years. Can he apply for residency? So there may be some loopholes here for him. If he's 70 years old, we need to talk because there are multiple things that we can look at. Does he qualify to apply for residency under the registry? Does he qualify to get amnesty, to get residency? These are the things we'd have to look at. Should I have filed EAD when I did my I-130 petition to my husband? You'd have to apply for the I-485 to get the EAD. If you just applied for your I-130, the work permit is not going to be appropriate in that case. Can a green card holder file for parents overseas? No. Green card holders can only apply for their spouse or children. What if I'm a US citizen and get a child in Jamaica? That child can derive citizenship from you. You have to go through a process to register their birth at the embassy, but they're probably a US citizen. Hi, what are the forms needed to file for marriage-based green card? So the forms will be the I-130 is the base form if they're outside of the US. If they're in the US, you're looking at I-130, adjustment of status application. And then if you want the work permit and travel document to go with it, you have to apply for those as well. There's also the affidavit of support to show you meet income requirements too. And then the I-130A as well, that has to be attached to the I-130 petition. How many times can you get prima facie before they approve your case? So I would say about 3 or 4 times. You do get it for 1 year, and then it updates every 6 months. I want to apply for VAWA, but my evidence has been lost by my wife, and my wife and I are separated. Do not worry. At this point in the game, I would say this. If you experience mistreatment, just give us a call. We can talk to you about what evidence do you have, what evidence don't you have, and then we can figure out how to proceed. The most important thing is this happened to you, and then we'll work through the rest of it. What do they need for 10 years green card approval? It depends. You need to have either qualify based on circumstances, qualify based on a qualifying relationship, like employer, family members, through humanitarian means. I want to apply for, so I answered that. My paperwork has said refuse for 4 months. What could be the holdup? So if it was rejected, it could be an error in your application package. Can you get deported if you apply for a T visa if it's not approved? So right now, the risk of that happening is very low because they are not, most people who apply as victims are not on the priority for deportation. Right now, they go by priority. They prioritize who is going to be deported, and it is those who are a danger to the public or national security, and those who maybe just came across the border and illegally. So those, not those who came through and were processed at the border, but maybe recent arrivals. Those are on the priority list. If you're not on that list, then it's right now the risk is very low that after denial you will be issued a notice to appear in court. Now, it's not to say the risk is not zero, but your risk is going to be dependent on, are you on that list for them to prioritize deportation? If you're not on the list, it's probably very low. I want to apply, let's see, how much time is it taking to get green card through perm? So I'd say a year and a half to 2 years. I want to apply for, so I answered that. All right. So I'm on YouTube and then I'm going to head out. Let's see. How long it take to get the work permit after getting the prima facie letter? My lawyer told me to wait till you get approved. So it depends on your circumstances. I always say if you have a lawyer, defer to your lawyer. Your lawyer knows you best. But if you applied for everything all in one, your work permit, your travel document, along with your adjustment of status application, then you're looking at 6 months or 12 months. If you have to wait before you apply for all of that, you have to wait for basically your date to become current on the priority list. And in that case, it could be another 6 months to a year until we see any movement there. And it depends on the date that you submitted the applications. 3 DUI affect your VAWA. Last DUI went 3 years ago. So with VAWA, they do look at your good moral character in the last 3 years. Now, keep in mind that doesn't mean that they can't look outside of those 3 years. Three DUIs can definitely indicate a big problem. And in that case, you should be presenting more evidence of rehabilitation, that you have addressed any kind of issues regarding alcohol abuse, because that's a big concern for them. And just show that now in the past 3 years you've made effort to be able to show your good moral character. After your VAWA is approved, do you file I-485 to adjust your status? Now, yes, but you also have to wait for your priority date to become current. So that's not a problem for anybody who applied on or before September 1st, right? Once it's approved, they can go for I-485. I mean, they can go for I-485 regardless right now. Approved, they can go for I-485. Once your priority date is current, by the way, you can apply for this. You can apply for the VAWA. Where you have to wait, you have to wait for your priority date to become current before you can file the I-485. So you don't even have to wait, by the way, for your VAWA to be approved to file the I-485. You have to just wait for your priority date to become current. How long is the VAWA process if married to a green card holder? So right now, I would say still 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years, because you would wait that time. Everybody waits that time for their VAWA to be approved. Now, where you have to pay attention to is the benefits you get through the work permit. And with that, you have to wait for your priority date to become current before you can apply for your work permit. I'd like to travel out of the country for 1 week, but I'm nervous that they will not let me back in. My application is still in process. Make sure, one, you have your travel document, and then consult with your attorney to make sure that it is advisable that you leave. Can a person who entered the United States on a false visa apply for parole in place? I applied for 102. It was denied because they cannot find any records. I already meet all the other. So this is a little more complex because in this case, under immigration law, even if you enter the country with a false visa, it is still you still entered with some form of inspection. It's where maybe they don't accept the fact that you came in, or they don't have that proof. They've explicitly stated they don't accept your explanation, that you may be able to apply as entering without inspection. But really, if you entered with a false visa, that is still considered entry, as a form of entry with inspection, right? Even though what will happen though is you now have to apply for a waiver based on misrepresentation or fraud because you entered with a false document. A part of this is also explicitly stating that the way you entered, so that they can determine that whether you qualify for a waiver for misrepresentation. So it's complex. This is where it's very important to get with us. Let's figure out a solution. Can we petition 21-year-old single child while holding a T visa? No. T visa does not allow you to petition for anybody. If my adjustment of status was denied, I'm married to U.S. citizen, she failed to submit documents, can I apply for adjustment of status at the same time with VAWA? When it gets to the point where you have a denial, it's going to get a lot more complicated. Doesn't mean you won't succeed, because we've had clients who have been denied based on the mistreatment of the spouse, but we have to understand your facts to be able to tell you how to move forward. If there was mistreatment, you were denied because of that mistreatment, then VAWA is probably going to be the best solution for you. I can apply for a benefit for VAWA or visa, U visa, but I have 3 DUIs. My last DUI was 2.5 years ago, not accident. Give us a call. Let's work with you on this. I need to understand your facts, but it is still possible to get it despite the DUIs. Don't Okay, congratulations, Ryan Campbell, for your card. It's congrats. I always like to hear that. Do you have to stay in status if I 485 is pending? I applied while I'm in status. The most important thing is you apply while in status and your priority date was current at the time. I applied for EAD under C9 in last 2 weeks. Form 765 was transferred twice. Does that mean anything towards progress made? It just means that they're trying to transfer the workload, but nothing else. I'll answer a few more questions on Instagram and then head out. Can I get F1 visa after leaving the country without finishing the J1 visa? They may look at that as a negative, just depending on the facts here. Okay, so 2024, he'll DM us. Let us know what's going on so we can, if you want to get started, that we can do that. So DM us, DM your name and your email. Let us know you're ready to start based on the information we sent to you, and we can get started. If I have a green card, how long can I remain outside of the US? I'd say don't stay more than 6 months outside of the country. 6 months is pushing it. Is it safe to travel on travel document as long as you do not, um, as long as you evaluate your risk? The risk isn't zero, but some people's risk is lower than others. I would say it's better to have a travel document than none at all. For example, if you are wanted by immigration, by ICE, but you got your travel document, you need to slow down. You're at a higher risk for sure. If none of that was in your past, you're not wanted, you've never been deported, then you're at a lower risk. And, travel is, I'd be more confident to tell my clients to travel. But it's so important to reach out to your attorney to ask these questions. What can I apply for if I'm overstaying my visa? I'm at the restaurant now working, but I've not been paid well and I do 12 hours to 13 hours. Call us. Let's talk about what you're going through, because in cases like this is a red flag and may indicate that you qualify for relief through what's called T status, just depending on the facts here. So give us a call. All right. That's gonna be it for me today. Thanks everyone for your time. I'm looking forward to coming back on tomorrow. So please look out for me. In the meantime, think of some questions that you want to ask me. These are all great questions, and it makes me so excited to see them. So I will look out for those questions that you have tomorrow, and I will bring a topic for you tomorrow of interest. Have a good one. Now, if you want to get in touch, go to the link in the profile and you'll see ways to schedule your own appointment, or we are filling up very quickly. So please make sure that you get a move on it. It's Attorney Bria and I that are doing consultations now. So please go on and make sure you're grabbing your spot so we can help you. Our goal is to help as many people as we can, and we're doing just that. So take advantage of it. Go ahead and schedule your time. Have a great one. Bye bye.